Yo, what's going on, man? It's your boy, Dane Diddy.
Ambitious Ace.
Bang Bang Boomerang.
Lovecraft Country. I am. This episode focused on Hippolyta.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
So, I think the episode began, and this is the thing that sucks about the episode coming out on Sunday. Why can't you just come out Sunday morning? If I remember correctly, it woke up with her playing around with the thing with the planets on it.
Yeah, she was playing around, and then it jumped back to what happened prior to they went
When
to
they
the house.
swerved off of the road, and
Yeah,
I was
or the mansion. I should say not house.
Yeah, they went to the Braithwaite mansion.
Yeah.
Found a copy of Ortheta Blue, which I was just like, come on, that ain't gonna survive.
You never know, man.
Unless the ancestor protected it and placed it
There
there
you
for
go.
you to
See,
find.
that's how you should think about it. There you go.
Or unless Christina is doing all of this just to get certain things to go the way she wants it to go.
Highly possible.
That could be
Highly
possible as well. But she kind of sees it sideways and figures it out and gets the key out of it with coordinates.
Yes.
So, you know, and then I think we also got to see oh yeah, okay, I remember what happened now. Tick and Letty were sleeping. Letty had a dream that she was pregnant.
Yeah.
Yes, he did.
Yeah.
And one of the ancestors that helped Tick get out of the house, it was the same scene. I'm like, they're not related. Don't do that.
No, I knew where they were going with that as soon as I saw it. I'm like,
really?
oh, she pregnant.
Yeah, and then she didn't tell anybody about it. But you know, they decide that what they want to do. Tick tells her about homegirl from the last episode, Gia, and basically breaks down the code. Yo, I love his acting, man.
Exactly.
Yeah,
I love his acting.
It's great.
He's amazing.
It's great.
And then they basically decide to go speak to his dad. And then so it goes over to Montrose.
Ooh.
Montrose and Sammy, you know, Sammy's making breakfast, but the eggs is the grits are runny.
Oh,
You
that's
know
the
what I'm
worst.
saying? The coffee ain't got enough sugar. Like basically Montrose was just finding any reason. We thought he accepted himself, but apparently he
Montrose
did.
demands a lot now. Okay, he just come on.
I ain't gonna lie, running grits is pretty nasty. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, grits is nasty. But besides the point, runny grits is definitely worse.
It's a no.
But he was just picking. He's kind of picking at a reason to get him out of the house. Because you saw he was fine until he mentioned a neighbor. As soon as he mentioned that the neighbor song, all of a sudden Montrose is like, all right, basically like, yo, you got to get out.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So they get into like kind of like a tiff.
Yeah.
Sammy walks out. Montrose grabs his hand, and Tick and Letty see him.
Yeah.
And Tick immediately gets angry. You got to remember this is the 1950s. So
Absolutely.
Tick gets angry, and then Montrose and him kind of have an argument. Letty stayed behind, and Tick went outside. So do we think that Montrose and Letty and Montrose had any conversation that?
Yeah, they
was
had a little
important?
dialogue. She said that she asked him about, what was it, the book,
The book of names?
Yeah, and then the family and stuff like that.
Oh, that's right.
So they had that kind of side conversation. But I'm kind of glad we got to see that frustration with Tick. I mean, it was explosive, but I already knew what it was for.
Yeah.
Because it wasn't just because, my dad's gay. It wasn't just that. It was just the fact, like he said, as soon as those words came out of his mouth,
I understood 100%.
I was just like, I feel it, because it's just like somebody beating on you all their life, telling you to be a man and all this and this and that. But
just to find out that they've been running for something their whole life, it's kind of like, you know.
And I think I forget my man's name.
Sammy?
No, his real name, Jonathan Majors, did a great job portraying that emotion.
Yeah.
Because he made it so believable that you forgot about, the word that he used.
The words they use, yeah.
And it's just like, you understand why he had to react in such a manner. Not only that, his mother knew as well. So the idea that he had of his mother was kind of challenged at that point too. And I think he just did a great job of making you feel that frustration and that confusion in that scene.
Yeah. And it didn't shy away from the word, which when they said it, I was like, whoa, know, it just shows you the time that we're in now, how big that is. But, he went for it. But then when you see why, you're like, okay, you kind of get it. And you also kind of realize about his uncle being his father, because I think he mentioned that his mother knew.
Yeah.
So now you know, okay, so I guess his uncle is now his
It
father.
still wasn't
It's
confirmed.
still up in the air.
But we can kind of see it now, because if the mother knew, it's probably why she might have strayed, at the time.
Could be.
Yeah, so we also they decide that they're gonna go check out where the book of names is. Just to backtrack just a little bit, we also saw Christina and Ruby.
Yeah.
This was obviously right after Christina shed the skin, and Ruby actually sees the bodies sitting there draining the blood. It was kind of disturbing watching, and we find out that William was her lover, and that's how she learned the magic and everything. And she was kind of using him, but she really fell for him, and then her dad killed him. So it's just like, damn. No, actually, she didn't say her. Did she say her dad killed him, or it was a cop?
Now
I feel like it was a cop that she said the cop
feel like
killed her.
he was responsible for the killing. I'm not sure if he did it himself.
The
but
cop?
He probably orchestrated it.
I can't remember his name.
Yeah.
Do you remember his name?
No, I do not.
But either way, the cop was apparently somehow responsible for the death of William. And basically, Christina begs Ruby to, not to give up on basically the potions, like to keep going. So we do see Letty. She decides she doesn't want to go on the trip now, I guess, because she wants to stay back with Ruby.
Yeah.
Her and Ruby kind of has some conversations, and it's crazy because Ruby feels like she knows a little bit more than she's letting on at this point, because she kind of knows the way Christina's been operating behind the scenes, but still hasn't said anything. She's acting as if she's somewhat innocent of all of it.
Now, I wanted to ask y'all, do you think that Christina let her in on what she knows about Atticus and Letty?
Yes.
Because that's kind of the vibe I got. Like, okay, let me not spy
Remember,
on
she
my
said
sister.
no more lies.
No more lies. So maybe now she's just waiting for Letty to fess up. Because I felt like that through every exchange,
I can see that.
she was waiting for Letty to say something.
That's why I feel
like
like that's why she was looking out the window like she was, because she's like, I'm done with you. You ain't told me nothing.
Mm-hmm.
I know you know more, and you ain't said nothing.
Gosh.
Yeah. So I feel like she'll allow the chance to get there, to have her to open up. But still, they played off the dynamic of family and sisters really well, because that is some real stuff. You get in the fights, you come back together and everything like that. So maybe it's not all trust lost, because I think Ruby at the same time is like, this is some weird shit going on here. So let me give her time to open up to me. So hopefully it's not just all, spying and stuff like that.
And she could be assessing the playing field because, she's probably just trying to kind of figure out what the hell is going on, because she's like on both sides.
Yeah.
So she doesn't want to spoil it. She kind of want to stay in that middle place.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that was a cool section of the story. So we also see, Tick goes to see his grandmother, and he actually sees that the Book of Names is in a family picture. But while he's checking that out, he gets a call from Letty, basically saying like, look, Hippolyta is in, I forgot what state.
Yeah, because she found what's the thing called?
The thingamabob. I don't know what you call that.
Keep forgetting what it's called. She found it in her room.
Yeah, she found the damn device. Ruby heard it as well. Yeah. Ruby's standing in the doorway listening.
Yeah.
Because this is what you got to remember. This is what Christina was looking for, and she mentioned it to Ruby that that's what she was looking for.
Right.
So now it's been located, and now Tick is kind of like hauling ass. I guess he gets on the road and hauls ass to where.
Pretty fast.
Yeah, he's fast.
Yeah, he got there quick in a hurry.
But he did notice that he had the same birthmark. You remember?
Yeah, one of his other family members.
Which I think we may be introduced to somebody else in the family. But yeah, he got the hell on. Shout out to that.
He got the hell on for real.
So we see Hippolyta. She arrives at the observatory, which was one of the observatories owned by the Braithwaites. She climbs out of the car. She goes in, and it has kind of like a magical kind of like device, and it's almost like the one that she had at home. I love the fact that they show her sitting there doing the math equations while she's kind of like writing it down in the book. I can't do none of that math, bro.
The fact that they included that, I was just like, yes, Black women are smart. Thank you. I love the fact, because I'm sitting there like, I don't know how the hell she deducting all these equations and everything. Whenever showing the graphics pop up, I'm like, I don't understand none of that, but that's how I feel what she's doing.
She had to figure out where the stars and the constellations were to move everything around so that the actual thing would open.
Yeah, and all that without a calculator. You know what I'm saying? And no Google. I don't know how she did that.
Yeah, exactly. So they actually, she gets it open, and as she gets it open, the police kind of come flying in.
Yeah.
And it's the same two cops that we keep seeing working for
Over and over
Homeboy
again. Yep.
back in Chicago.
Yeah.
So, they're kind of about to shoot her. Tick just ran out of nowhere, bro. I was just like, yo, that was pure Randy Orton style.
Like
how
out
the hell
of
did you get here?
nowhere.
Yeah.
Out of nowhere.
Whoops they ass.
No hesitation.
Hippolyta shoots one of them,
Yeah.
and she gets sucked up into the machine.
I know I'm reaching, but why didn't he throw him in the portal?
That's the same
I
thing.
mean, it's
I was
going to
thinking.
lead to later, but
Plot.
Yeah, that's plot.
Plot.
That's plot.
It's just like, why did you just throw him in too? But okay, yeah, keep going.
Yeah, so Hippolyta ends up inside of it looks like a cell. And
Well, before that, she's
Yeah.
like walking on the moon or some shit, and she sees two like
alien-looking things.
cyborg kind of beings, and then she ends up in the cell.
Yeah,
I
then she
thought
ends
that
up
whole
in the cell.
exchange was crazy.
Yeah.
And then she's butt ass naked. She has to put clothes on, and then the android comes in and says, "You are not a prisoner."
Yeah,
That's the one key thing that needed to be remembered.
Yeah.
Like, you are not a prisoner, which I thought was kind of deep, because it's like she thought she was in a cell,
Yeah.
but she wasn't a prisoner, and she wanted her to name herself. And it's just like, I was confused at the beginning too. I was actually confused until I listened to the podcast, and she explained that that's the first thing you do in therapy is you have to name yourself.
Oh.
And I was just like, see,
I mean, I got
if you
that.
ain't been through therapy, you might not get that. Because like I said
Oh, that's
multiple
cool.
times, I'm too dumb for this show.
Well, I kind of got it when she just like, you are not a prisoner. And when she began to work through it and find out everything about it, I'm like, okay, this is on a deeper level. So, I mean, I didn't know it was like therapy, but that makes sense that it is for therapy, though.
See, I was tripping off old girl hair. That little big afro with a little point.
Yeah, and they said her name is Beyonce.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Beyonce,
Yeah.
Yeah, so she basically tells her to name herself, and she says she wishes she was on stage with Josephine Baker.
Which she was
And-
listening to earlier. She
Yeah.
listened to music.
She was listening. Oh, that's another thing too, because we saw Betsy. What's her name? I can't remember what her name was. The lady that drove her motorcycle.
Yeah.
around.
Yeah, which I did not know about.
Yeah,
I had to
and the
look it
funny
up.
thing is, I've seen her. I don't know if it was Phil Donahue or it was one of those talk shows back in the day, and she
Listen.
was on there. So I had known about her, but it didn't hit me that it was the same person.
I love the fact that Lovecraft Country is putting these little nuggets in
I'm
here
telling you.
that you're just like, what? And that requires you to like, okay, who's that? Like you look it up, and it's just like something so small and something so pivotal, you know?
Yeah, even another one was the Emmett Till. I think Emmett Till was mentioned.
Yeah, they
early
mentioned
on.
they
Yeah.
just mentioned when his buddy coming back. It's just
Yeah.
like, y'all know he ain't coming back, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm wondering if
crazy.
that'll be a plot device in the next episode though. But I guess we'll get to that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So she's out there dancing with Josephine Baker, and as you see, the whole time she's out there, as the days go by, she's getting more open, more free with herself, and being into who she is. And it was actually, that conversation that she has with Josephine Baker towards the end.
Whew.
That was so deep.
That line
When she said it's like they figured out a way to lynch you without
was
giving, without giving you the rope, or
that
without
was one
showing
of
you
those
the rope.
bars where it was just like, whew. Like you couldn't help but just, whew, after hearing that. Like, man.
Yeah, that felt like a rap battle line. It's like some URL type stuff.
Yeah. So, then all of a sudden she says, "I'm Hippolyta." Next thing you know, she's she's teleported to Africa with the tribe that the Dora Milaje is based off of.
Yes.
Yeah.
The Mine Amoni?
I can't
Amoni
remember
Amazons.
I can't remember what they're called. I
Yeah,
just know they were
Amoni.
all woman tribe. They used to whoop ass.
Mhm.
All right. So she's out there with them, and she can't fight. And this seems like the first fight was kind of like getting comfortable. The second fight now is to actually be able to fight.
Yeah.
And she got trained to fight, and then she ends up fighting Confederate soldiers.
Yeah. Yep. And she ends up being the leader too.
Yeah.
Which was something I guess she was like the worst one. She kept fighting, and became the leader, which I thought was dope.
Yeah, because who wouldn't want to have a dream where they just out here whooping Confederate soldiers' asses? You know what I'm saying? So after that, she kind of has a moment where she kind of gives a really good speech to the rest of the group that I was just like, man, that was a powerful speech.
Yeah.
And then she ends up getting teleported to George.
Yep.
Now, how did you guys feel about that?
I thought it was interesting because I mean, it kind of brings this whole episode is kind of bringing her arc kind of semi full circle with what she needed to do for herself, not only as just a woman but as a character in the show, and it really resonated with like just everything as a whole. And I think it was kind of cool to get George's perspective on how his life has affected her, because he kind of realized like he had to stop himself like, dang, I did do that, you know. And I think, you know, that's something as like I don't really see a lot of men doing, owning up to their shit. Like, oh, I may have inadvertently did this to you without even knowing that I did it. So I think we need to see more stuff like that, and I love how they portrayed that.
Yeah, I loved it too. I also want to shout out to the writers because, like, even looking up Josephine and looking up the, I guess, what inspired the army, those are things I never even knew about. Like, I think Josephine was a spy at one point, you know? Like, if you look up her story, which is really dope, and then to bring it all the way back to her relationship with George, I thought was cool too. It kind of felt like an alternate dimension, like, or some kind of, like, what happens if she would have stood up for herself? Maybe their life would have been different type thing. And I thought that was so powerful. Very powerful scene.
Yeah, and like it even had to make me like question my relationship with my wife, because I'm just like, damn, do I do that too? You know what I'm saying? Just like, man, I partially do that from time to time too. Like, I got to stop thinking about self all the time of what I need to do. You know what I'm saying? Like, it really makes you think.
Yeah.
And I love anything that's gonna make you think. You know what I'm saying? And there was another thing too that happened that I was just like, man, I can't really remember, but. Either way, the discussion with George, he kind of came to the realization, and then she's like, you know, we could go on this journey, but this time I'm leading the journey. Because that's the thing. I thought it was crazy because you never really think about it like that, because he was looking at it like he was protecting her.
Yeah.
Like, it's dangerous out here. I don't want my wife getting hurt going to these, you know, areas that's sundown towns and all of this, but at the same time he was pretty much preventing her from growing. It's like, you don't really think about it like that. You're just looking at it from that one
I think that's
angle.
why she had so much joy seeing, I forget her name, the lady that's riding the motorcycle. Because she's out here on the road by herself, not caring about anybody on the road. And I think that now that I look back at it, that was the immense joy that she got. Like, yeah, we out here owning the road, basically. So it's crazy when you look at it like that.
That's dope.
Yeah, so they go. So this time they go on a trip, but this time Hippolyta is leading the trip, and they're going from planet to planet, meeting aliens. The spaceship actually looks like George's car. They kind of made it look like the van, and they're going around. And then like it just seemed like she had a good time. And then Beyonce asks her, does she want to go home, or does she want to integrate with this, you know,
whole collective,
this life,
whatever it is,
And she said she wanted to go home. But it was a little confusing, though, because she said she wanted to go home, but she didn't come out of the portal. But Tick did, and he had a book of Lovecraft Country. Now, the question is, did Tick go anywhere?
He did.
He had to.
He did. He definitely did.
He had to.
Where did he go?
He went to another universe,
and
another
why?
multiverse.
Because I don't think there's enough time in the show to show that he went anywhere.
I think so. Well, I do want to mention this, that when they were in space, they were pretty much the characters that her daughter made, right?
Yeah, she pretty much.
So damn.
The way it was explained is that Orthea Blue was how her daughter saw her mom.
Yeah.
So.
Oh, I didn't even realize that.
Yeah. So once she became who she felt she should have been all this time, she actually became the person that her daughter saw her as. Her daughter saw her mom as a superhero. Orthea Blue somehow has Hippolyta's name kind of in the name, if you actually look at it. I forget how it works, but yeah, that was like, there was, the way they write the show is extremely deep.
So maybe she came back. Maybe she's just coming back at a specific moment.
That's what I'm thinking.
Maybe she knows that maybe there's something that has to happen. She can't come back at that exact time.
Yes, she has.
Maybe
she could.
I can see that happening.
She definitely could come back at
because
that
if
time.
you have that control or anything over the multiverse, that's what I'm gonna call it.
That'd be crazy if she just was already at home when Tick gets there.
Yeah, I know.
You know what I'm saying? So I don't know. She might have more things that we can't see.
But the question is why was there a Lovecraft Country book written by George?
Because he went to another universe.
And we did see that. We did see that universe in the very beginning. I feel like we saw that when we saw those aliens.
Well,
and
that's
everything.
the thing I went back to. I went back and watched the first episode, and I'm like, there's a whole bunch of nuggets here that show what this show is about to be about.
Mm.
You talking about just that first scene?
Just that first scene. There's a whole lot of things that I'm like, okay, like the Dahomey Amazon warriors.
Yeah.
They're fighting in the background when he sees GI drop. They're fighting the conservative people in the background. And I'm like, that was there. I didn't even know that was there before. So if you go back and watch that first episode, there's a lot of nuggets in there. I'm like,
is
okay.
Diana on that? Is Diana there? Or
I don't know. But
or
I did see
or the cops?
I did see a screenshot. Diana's wearing one of the baseball caps. And does that have anything to do with was that Jackie Robinson?
Possibly.
Could be.
So I'm just like,
I think it pays homage to, because it's not Diana in the book, it's Horace.
oh yeah, you did tell me that. You did tell me that.
I think it's kind of just like paying homage to the idea of the character Horace.
And then when I think about Gia in the intro, she's all in red. We just saw the episode.
She was covered in blood.
She was covered in blood. All the blood of the people that she killed. That's why she was all blood when she came out the UFO. She was all in red. And I'm just like, yo, y'all sly little devils.
This is crazy,
This is
man.
wild, man.
So, question.
Yeah.
Do we think Uncle George is coming back?
I don't think so. I think that Hippolyta, even though she had these adventures, I don't think she would be the type of person to mess with time or space. I think that she would probably go back to her own place and time and try to use what she learned to be a better person for her daughter in that timeline, if that makes any sense.
I agree.
I don't think that she would do anything like that because I think in her head she probably got enough closure or enough, just mind opening experience to be like, okay, I am Hippolyta. I don't need all this other stuff, So I don't think she would do anything like that.
I agree 100%. I don't think George, even if George is somewhere in some other dimension, I'm not even sure if he will come back,
I think that he's somewhat coming back through the book. Now, if it really is just a limited series and it's going to end after season 1, no, he's not going to come back. But if it does continue, I think he'll come back.
Yeah.
I mean, if he comes back, I have faith that they can do something right. Because when it gets to time travel storylines, it just gets confusing. But I like the multiverse thing.
Well, you got to remember, there's magic.
Yeah, and I get that.
And it's sci-fi.
I know. But the way they've been able to handle it, especially with this episode, I don't know if a lot of people are ready for that.
And then what about Hippolyta's growth too as a character? If George comes back, I feel like it could kind of stomp out her, development. Like I kind of want to see her story now more than ever. Like George had a moment, but Hippolyta right now she's Queen Bee. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. So at the end of the episode, man, Tick comes out of the thing, scrambling. He has the book. There's a copy of Orthea Blue there. The cop is dead.
Should have threw the cop in the portal.
Should have. He hears more cops coming.
Yeah.
He turns the machine off and hauls ass.
With the key.
Yeah.
So, what are you guys thinking? I'm not even going to comment because I read the book. So, what are you guys thinking?
It's already imperative that they're going to see the name on the book and they're going to probably go, I guess, find Diana and everything like that. But I'm just wondering if the mother's going to be there or is Diana going to have to deal with this all by herself? That's what I'm worried about.
Yeah. Same thing.
Because if the mom's not there, well, how is she going to handle this? Especially in this time period? This is going to be scary.
The way the show's been going, everybody's been kind of getting their own little arcs.
You're right.
We get an opportunity to kind of see her journey.
Yeah.
And she's been pretty much quiet throughout the whole show. So I wonder what journey she's going through.
Yeah.
Especially losing her father. And I guess the dynamic with her mother not being that strong.
Yeah.
I'm curious to see what her storyline is going to be.
Yeah.
I can see, I remember last time I said I don't see how they can finish it off based on how much was left in the book. I'm starting to see it now because there's 3 episodes left.
But is there, without spoilers, is there a definite definitive end, or is it like an end to this portion of the story?
Definitely a definitive end. When you listen to the book, once it's over, it's over.
Mm-hmm.
But there was definitely a couple things that they didn't bother to talk about at the end of the book where I can see them continuing on from. And I can see them changing the ending just a bit.
To make it more open or something like that?
Just to make it more open for a continuation.
Because, I mean, I want more of the show, but the last thing I would want to is for it to get watered down.
Just know that if they do continue for a second season, more than likely they're just going to be pulling stuff from what they want to do. Because
do you think that's a good move?
Possibly. It's just that the book was so good, I can see why somebody wanted to turn it into something. So they had to have already had some good ideas, and you know what I mean? Just because, like, the way they wrote the book, it was so methodical and everything, where it was just like, man, they really thought some of this stuff out. And I like how the show's been changing stuff. Now, based on how the book went, I've loved everything that's happened from the show and the book up until the Hippolyta episode. Like, because the Hippolyta chapter, I think, is better than the Hippolyta episode. But everything else has been really good.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Like, whether it was, because there is differences. There's a lot of similarities, but there's some differences.
Okay.
And the Hippolyta episode is the one that went furthest away from the book, from as far as what happened to what happens in the book. But everything else has been really good, and the Diana episode should be really good. I'm expecting this one to be possibly people's favorite episodes, and I can see the last two episodes pretty much being the 2-episode finale. Because the way they tie everything up in the ending is fire.
Okay.
I'm excited.
Me too.
I'm excited.
So overall, I do want to say, like, I love the messages and everything that was happening with this episode, but I can't say, like, this was my least favorite episode. I'm not even gonna lie.
Wow, really?
Get out of here.
This was my least favorite episode, and like I told you, I think it was because I read the damn book. I should have never read the book, because now I'm going into episodes with expectations because I know what's supposed to happen.
Yeah.
And it's just like they're changing stuff, but I really felt what happened in the book for the Hippolyta chapter was really good, and it didn't happen. And I was just like, oh, yeah, I didn't do any of that stuff. Why? That was fire. But it was more of an empowerment thing. You got to remember, Uncle George never died in the book. So it changes the whole dynamic of the rest of the book.
Well, I think in this regard, like I said, this was probably written 2 years. Well, it was written 2 years ago. For all of the episodes that they have dropped to be resonating with similar events going on in the world right now,
oh my gosh,
it's unbelievable.
I mean, it's not surprising. Though.
It's not surprising,
when
but just
it deals
the impact.
with black people, you can put on a damn record from
I
1920s.
know, but I'm just saying.
I'm
just saying for this one, especially, you know, dealing with black women and everything like that. I feel like this is something that was like kind of needed, just for, you know, women of color to see that, you know, I am such and such. I am this person. It's such a powerful statement that I think that needs to be addressed, and I think that's what the episode accomplished. I was looking at Twitter comments, and people were like, whoa, I'm lost during this episode. What's going on? It might be one of those episodes you might need to watch again. But even on the first, you know, watch through, you're just seeing a whole bunch of moments where it's just, I am this person, overcoming, you know, low self-esteem about yourself, saying that you can do this, you can be this type of person, you can do that, you can be a warrior, you can be powerful and strong and all that stuff. I think all those messages are needed.
Absolutely. I agree 110%. And I like the little history nuggets. It's like, this is so smart that we have to go back and kind of research some of these figures because we didn't get in school.
Nah.
So where do we get this from? I really appreciate this book or this story kind of like dropping those nuggets for us to kind of be curious and look into some of these people.
Yeah.
Like the Josephine. I didn't even know her history, and learning it, I'm like, that is amazing. How do I not know about this lady? Yeah. So shout out to that.
Yeah, man. Let us know in the comments down below how you guys felt about this episode. What do you guys see happening next? If you read the book, shut your ass up. You know, I'm just saying, unless people say, tell me what happened, don't tell them what happened, man.
Don't tell me.
You know, go over to Welcome to the Wall, man. Hit that follow, like button. You can find Ace streaming over here on YouTube as well. Maybe another Among Us video will be coming up soon. Thank you guys for watching, man. We love you guys.
Peace.